Wilderness areas. You know, here's what you want to do. You want to look into the nonprofits that are partnering with corporations and government to pressure and influence regionalism. If you look at America2050.org and you look at the Regional Plan Association, you're going to find a report called Northeast Landscapes. Okay, this gives grants to nonprofits, new fledgling nonprofits. These things, every time it rains, there's more of them. They're like mushrooms. Fledgling nonprofits who are coming out of nowhere to assist in regulating and restricting your land use. The Regional Plan Association gives grants so that they can partner with existing nonprofits and learn how to do it better. This is what they do. They give grants. The vast majority of conservation initiatives are by nonprofits. They're brought by nonprofits. They need a comprehensive, this is what they say, they need a comprehensive regional approach that goes beyond property boundaries and beyond jurisdictions. Regulating and restricting. Now, in New Hampshire, the 2008 New Hampshire Innovative Land Use Planning Techniques Handbook. It's the Innovative Land Use Planning Techniques Handbook for Sustainable Development. That was put out by your Department of Environmental Sciences and the Association of Regional Planning Commissions. That talks about transferring development rights out of the rural areas and moving them into the city centers so that you can have higher and higher and higher buildings in the city centers while you are restricted in your use of your land here out in the rural areas. This is where it's going. Now, you might say to me, nobody's getting me out of my rural and suburban area. I'm fine here. I haven't really seen much of this. Yeah, I've seen a few things, but I feel okay. I got my well. I've got, I'm okay here. Well, guess what? I live in a rural county. It's Sonoma County, California. We have 1,384 miles of county roads. And about 2 years ago, our county commissioners said, you know what? We just don't have any money. So we're only going to be paving 150 miles of that 1,384 miles of roads in the future. The other 1,230 miles of roads we are going to pulverize and turn to gravel. You think that's going to affect your land value? If you can't get to your property? If you can't bring your produce to market? If other people can't get out there? How about when they close your rural post office? How about when they close your rural school? How about when they monitor your well? Right? How about it? What's that going to do? How about when more and more people lose their farms, lose their land, and it gets acquired by a land trust that's not paying property tax, that's not paying into your county coffers, and those people leave and the burden is on you, and pretty soon there's just not enough money to maintain any of your infrastructure in your suburban and rural areas. And that is how it works, because the federal government has a funding system that favors more urban populated areas for transportation money. That's how it works. You'll also see whole suburbs being demolished now. I'm not just talking about Detroit either. These are cities that are asking for billions of dollars from the feds. They're saying, they've got this thing, it's called the Restore Our Neighborhoods Initiative. They want to demolish residences in suburban and rural areas because, they're drug houses. So we're going to punish the house. We're going to take it to a landfill. We're going to demolish it. We're going to reduce the tax base. We're going to create a downward spiral. We're going to move you out of the rural and suburban areas and then eventually out of the rural and suburban states. ICLEI has a water campaign. ICLEI is not just about your greenhouse gas emissions anymore. Now, those of you who aren't hip to this, I'll tell you, they're rolling it out in Southeast Asia and Australia right now, and it is their water campaign where they will be monitoring and restricting our use of water because water is a common good. It's a finite economic resource, according to them. Think about that. I thought it rained. But I guess I'm stupid. Charges for water and related services must reflect the true value of water and consider both the current and future cost of service provision. You know what that's going to mean? You're going to conserve and conserve and conserve, and your costs are going to go up and up and up. And I don't care where you are. You know, Toronto is sitting on a huge amount of water. It's just like this incredible aquifer that's always recharging itself. And so is Spokane, Washington. They are also having to conserve and restrict their water use. This is what it's about. Okay, so here it is. Agenda 21 is a plan to produce social equity by impoverishing populations and creating total dependence on government. Total dependence on government. It's happening right now. If you want an example, take a look at the EU, the European Union, okay? Austerity measures. This is happening now. Right, last year, at the end of last year, this little piece in the paper, Americans' wealth last summer suffered its biggest quarterly loss in more than 2 years, as stocks, pension funds, and home values lost value. But at the same time, corporations are amassing record cash stockpiles, $2.1 trillion at the end of September. This is the 1%. If you're not connected with the left, this is a place where it comes together. This is one of the places where it all comes together, because nobody wants to live under a corporatocracy and no one wants to live in a totalitarian state. And this is what it's about, because using the cover of environmentalism, that green mask, the rigid control of a totalitarian state, is in progress right now. That's what's behind the green mask. That's it. This is what is in creation now. This is public-private partnerships. It's fascism. It's our loss of control, the loss of a representative government, manufactured democracy. The USA Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act are what it looks like to inventory and control you. It designates the entire nation as the battleground, as you recall. It gives the right to detain and murder United States citizens on their own soil. In the homeland, excuse me, how could I be so stupid? That's been challenged in federal court, and it's been held up. But you can't wait for somebody else to do it for you. Now, FBI has the ability right now, this moment, without a warrant, to get your hotel records, your internet records, your phone records, and your bank records without your knowledge or approval. Right now, domestic surveillance without a warrant. More things are being made crimes. When you have a public-private partnership with prisons, just think about that. They have to make money. Public-private partnership. Prisons are privately owned. What do they need? Prisoners. How do you get prisoners? You make more things crimes. And you make crimes have longer sentences. Now, I guarantee you, just since you woke up today, you've at least broken one law. And you're listening to me, that's got to be against the law, too. So, this is true. Now, they will selectively enforce these laws, of course. And that's how they do it, you see. There's more and more laws. You're going to be breaking them without knowing that they're laws. You got to be brave. I picked this up in Dallas. This is the Dallas Morning News. It says it's about bullying. It's about children in schools. It says bullying. This is the National Bullying Prevention Center in Minnesota. Don't you feel a lot better knowing there is one? It says a real national change in bullying will come with a federal law. Get in the corner, you're going to jail. Yeah, law starts changing attitudes, is what it says. Yeah, law starts changing attitudes. What we'll be doing 5 years from now will look really different from what we're doing now. What do they mean by that? What do they mean by that? When you can take a little 6-year-old in Colorado who's doing that little, have you seen that horrible little video, I'm sexy and I know it? Yeah, if you have, it's awful. It's ridiculous. But this little 6-year-old doesn't know what he's doing. He's like shaking his little booty there, and he's dancing to a little other 6-year-old girl. What happened to him? He got busted by his school for sexual harassment. He's 6 years old and suspended for 3 days. Crime. All totalitarian states share the same characteristics. Total control of property and means of production. Total information. Surveillance. Loss of free speech. There's that consensus, right? Loss of free speech and restricted movement. They also share a philosophy, a common philosophy, and that is the philosophy that it's all for the common good. Yes, the individual is selfish. It's all for the common good. And what else? It's the Spartan present. Austerity. You've got to restrict your usage. You've got to reduce your usage. And you know what? Am I like a total, did I leave my tap running when I got up this morning? No. This is not about conservation. This is not about the environment. That is the green mask. This is about inventory and control of you. So, what else do you have? You've got the vision of the glorious future. Oh, it's going to be great. We're all going to be downtown, living in one of our little condos, downstairs in the coffee shop. Nobody's going to be working. You're going to have your bike out there. It's not going to rain or snow, no matter where you live in the country. There goes the train. That's right. Sky's going to be blue all the time. That's it. This is it. The glorious future, the vision of the glorious future is part of the totalitarian state. What else do they share in common? Terror. The war on terror is a war on you. And I know you know that. Right? I was telling the folks yesterday, every time I go to the airport, I won't do their hokey pokey thing. I won't go through that thing. So I get the pat down. Female pat down over here. Woman wants a pat down. Come on over here. Woman wants a pat down. They cut me out of the herd. I'm standing there, like all schwitz, sitting there waiting for them to come, and they're like, woman wants a pat down. People are going by. They're not making eye contact. I'm cut out of the herd. I don't exist. I must have done something wrong. Ma'am, will you come over here? I go over there. I'm standing there like this. And this is what makes it so that I have to go half an hour early every single time I fly. I look down at her and I say, so is this the best you could do for a living? Is this all you could think of? And I say, have you asked yourself how far you're willing to go for money? Have you asked yourself what you're not willing to do for a buck? And then when she gets all the way down there, I go, I'm a lesbian. Yeah, it makes me really popular, I'll tell you. Yeah, they're like, we're going through your stuff twice, okay? So that's it. That war on terror is a war on us. Communism, fascism, Nazism, it's all for the fatherland. It's all for the homeland, right? It's all for the common good, as defined by your rulers. Smart meters, smart gas, electric, and water meters are coming your way. If you don't have them yet, you stand up and say no, because those meters can be shut off without anyone coming onto your property. You think about that when you dissent, as you will, and you do. 3 o'clock in the morning, you flip on your light switch and nothing happens. That's right. Now let me just tell you a little bit about who some of the partners are in this little plan, this happy little plan. This plan that, in case you think I'm making this up, I hope you know that I'm not. There's not a single thing that I have said all day that is speculation. Nothing. So, Siemens Corporation is a German company. World War II, before World War II, they were about down in the dumps. They were getting ready to go under. They were going bankrupt until Hitler kindly offered them slave labor from the concentration camps and money. so they could develop their technology. Siemens pushes sustainable development big time. Smart meters, they're into the smart grid big. Solar, they make trains, light and heavy rail. They give sustainable development grants and awards. They are partners. They partially paid for Growing Smart, legislative guidebook with model statutes for planning and the management of change. Siemens. Who else? IBM. Now you know that IBM traded with the enemy, did not just trade with the enemy, had a wholly owned subsidiary in Germany during World War II, and what did they do? They made it possible to track all of those prisoners. Those numbers on the arms were not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those numbers corresponded with the camps and a bunch of other stuff. IBM made that possible. Hello, IBM. You know who to come and get. This information is out there. This is real. They are doing biometrics right now. They are big partners in Agenda 21 Sustainable Development. This is real. Those biometrics readers, those eye readers, they will read your retina. You want to get your money out of your ATM machine, you're not going to have your card or your number, you're going to have your eyeball. You want to travel? No need for that pesky passport with the RFID chip in it. They're going to be reading your eye. IBM is making that. Who else is partnering? How about 23andMe? Have you heard of that? You want to check out you want to know what's in your DNA, right? How cool. We can know what's in our DNA. You don't even own your genome. The human genome, you don't own your DNA. That's been mapped and patented. You want to find out if you're going to turn gray before your time? You spit into a cup and send it off to 23andMe. This is a company. They send you back a little printout. They keep your DNA. They hold it. Who are they? The woman who owns that company is married to Sergey Brin. Who is he? He owns Google. Google will own your DNA, your samples. Who else is doing it? This is the Bank of America, removing roadblocks, how to make sustainable development happen now. This is in partnership with the American Bar Association, Berkeley Law, UCLA Law. Does that look good? Bet you can hardly wait to move into that, huh? Smart growth. That's right, B of A. National Association of Realtors. Smart growth, yeah, on common ground. Your universities, you want a degree, you're going to get it in sustainable green unemployment. Here it is, Sustainability for the Common Good. Core course for the BA, Geography 300. That just happens to be Oregon State University, but I'm sure you got it here. What is this? This is the enemy. Now, not to say that I think like that, but I do. And you have to know who your enemy is. And I wish it wasn't the case. Do I wish this wasn't happening? You think I don't have anything better to do? I had to retire. I loved my career. I retired so I could do this, because this is way more important. So here we are. This is the American Planning Association. The American Planning Association has identified themselves as our enemy because they have put out a 12-week-long boot camp to re-propagandize planners, because we are out there talking about this and bringing it to light, and planners are freaking out all over the nation because we are anti-Delphing their meetings, and we are taking over their meetings, and we are calling a halt to this. So, what did they do? They put out a 12-week-long boot camp, okay? This is just a little piece of it. 12-week-long boot camp from November of 2011 to January of 2012, where they re-indoctrinated planners. And here's one little thing in there. If you're an elected official, I hope you're going to be pretty outraged to hear this. One of their key strategies, inoculate elected officials. Cultivate influentials. Cultivate influentials. They are trying to re-propagandize elected officials so that they will not listen to us. Sorry, too late, game over. You try that, we've got it. What do you need to see, huh? What do you need to see? What will be the thing that will bring you in? I know you're already there. You're already there. This is real. The American Planning Association. What do? They put articles in the newspaper. You know, your newspaper, you talk about partners, 5 corporations, 5 mega corporations own all of your media. That's why you haven't seen it. You think it can't be happening here because you haven't read it in the paper? Sorry. It's not in your paper and it won't be in your paper. Very unlikely. Or if it is in your paper, they're going to have me in there and they're going to say, she's a nut. And so are you, if you believe her. Oh, don't believe that woman who's speaking the truth. We're inoculating our elected officials. I'm going to go try and inoculate our elected officials tomorrow when I'm at the New Hampshire legislature. Now, who else is doing this? You're going to see this as, what's this thing? Hang with me. You stick with me here, because you need to know this, all right? I told you it doesn't come with flashing lights. You think I got off Agenda 21? Not for 1 second. Not for 1 minute. They call it sustainable development. They'll tell you they've never heard of Agenda 21. We had to look it up. That's what you see in those newspaper articles. We didn't know what they were talking about. They're such idiots. We had to look it up. Yeah, right. That's a lie. Okay, so here's another one. HEALS. That's healthy eating, active living. They have, they stay up late, I'm telling you. They've hired some of the best public relations people in the world to put this thing together. If it didn't sound good, we wouldn't go for it, right? If it didn't sound so good and look so good, you wouldn't go for it. HEALS, healthy eating, active living. It's supposed to be about you should have a banana a day, okay? You think. No. Update your general plan. Establish goals and policies in your general plan that address the built environment in a powerful and enduring way to increase resident access to healthy food and routine physical activity. You're fat. Get up. Move around. You're in the sprawl. That's why you're fat, because you drive your car. We're going to take your car away and make you march around the block a few times. Obesity is an epidemic. Oh, it's an epidemic, and we're going to take your child away from you. You watch. I'm speculating a little bit. That will be a crime. You got a fat kid, you got somebody who wants your kid, you're going to lose your kid because you're endangering your child's health because he's obese. Obesity. What else do they want you to do? Adopt zoning ordinances. This is in a food program. Adopt zoning ordinances that make it so that you can open a grocery store on every corner. All right. Yeah. Okay, community-oriented policing, fusion centers. You've got 1 million square feet of your data opening up in Utah. But we won't use it unless you do something wrong. That's right. Code enforcement officers, you be a code enforcement ambassador in DeKalb County, Georgia. You too can be a snitch and report on your neighbors. Neighborhood associations. You think those people in your neighborhood associations are just like you? No, they're not. A lot of them aren't. They are farmed. They are chosen. They are shills. They are picked because they are willing to go along and get along. And they will say they represent you. They will go down to your city council meeting and they will bang the drum for smart growth and they will say, all of Green Bay loves it. And you walk up, you go, I don't know who this person is. I've never even seen them before, but I live in Green Bay and I'm against it. And they say, well, you're nobody. I represent the whole town. These people, while we have been watching Who's Dancing with Your Wife, have been taking over our country. It's like there's been a football game going for the last 20 years, and we were out there in the parking lot having a kegger. Now we're finally suited up. We got our helmets and our pads on, and we're out on the field, and we're making some touchdowns. We're up on the board. We got to get up. We got to get out. We can't just wait for somebody else to do it. This is not that time. They want us obedient and quiet, and that is why children are being trained with outcome-based education to be obedient and quiet and go along to get along. And we are, most of us, older, an older generation. And we remember, we know what it means to be free. And we can look inside of ourselves and say we have had a great life. And we will not leave this legacy. that on our watch we have lost our freedom. So, all right, you said it. Yeah, okay, I'm not crying. Okay, so it's consultants, it's the planners. Now, if you're a planner, I feel sorry for you, honestly. You want to keep your job? You better recognize that there should be Nuremberg laws for planners. Going along to get along went out about 1945. If I don't do it, somebody else will went out about 1945. You know, you hear this, if you are a planner, that we will support you. We will be behind you. That you are not there to stop us from using our property. That you are not employed to take away private property rights. That we are behind you as a nation, and that we will stand up with you. And if you lose your job, if you're a planner, that your community will support you and find employment for you and protect you. Because we need people to stand up and say, I will not participate in this process. I will not be a partner in this process. Who's a partner? Bicycle coalitions. They partner with the lung associations. They partner with low-income housing developers to beat the drum for smart growth, smart growth, smart growth. Unions, AFL-CIO, denounce sprawl, endorses smart growth. Walmart is a partner. The EPA, yes, the Environmental Protection Agency, a government agency, has created a 501c3, Smart Growth America, where they partner with corporations and non-governmental organizations, nonprofits. Your government's in business against you. Churches, you're going to see asset-based community development where you are the asset. Mandatory volunteering. Don't you love that term, mandatory volunteering? Think about that. Mandatory volunteering, that sounds like slavery to me. But you're going to see that coming your way. Mandatory volunteering. Okay? Now, here we go. I know you're going to feel really, totally overwhelmed. Who doesn't? Right? Who doesn't feel overwhelmed? This is a bloodless coup. This is a takeover of our nation. This is an administrative coup d'etat, and it is happening right now, and we are really in the end game now. This is what it looks like. It's worldwide. People come up to me after I speak, they go, Rosa, where can we go? I'm like, you can stay right here and you can fight. There's nowhere to go. This is not like a world war where you can go to Switzerland. There's no Switzerland. There is no Switzerland. You look around at each other because you are looking at the resistance. This is what the resistance looks like. And we are all across the country. And we're a lot stronger than we think. We really are. So, you want to educate yourself, because the more you know, it's like when you're on a plane and they say, hey, if we're going down, you put the mask on yourself first and then you put it on your kid. That's what you want to do. You want to know what you're talking about. You educate yourself. If you get my book, it's a great, I think it's fabulous. It's a good book, but there's other places you can go to. You can go to my website. There are other, get yourself educated on what's going on. You want to read your plans. It's boring, yeah, but you know what? It isn't. There's nothing more exciting than being involved with your government, with your life, with what's happening to you. Read that Dover 2023 plan. Read that Scenic Byways thing. Check it out for yourself. Look at it. Read that Granite State Future. Look behind it. I told you, it always looks good. Aren't we the generation that questions authority? Yes. Let's do it. Come on, man. Let's do it. Okay, so now, if you are paying dues to an organization, National Association of Realtors or something like that, you have to pay. You do it under protest. You go down to the biggest meeting you can find and you stand up and you tell them why, with your heart pounding in your chest, why you are paying under protest. You write a letter. You write formal letters. You go down to your union hall and you tell them, I am paying my dues under protest. I do not want my union dues being used against me. Right? You're going to publicize who the partners are. You are going to put this information